So I want to ask the the panelists about money as a pathway towards success. Can you guys respond to this from your standpoint? And what should an entrepreneur think about when they're looking for investment, or how they drive, I guess, more capital to their business? If this is such a barrier, what are some considerations should they have? Giselle, do you want to start?
Considerations if they're looking for capital, you're saying?
Well, they say money is a major barrier for entrepreneurs at this stage, based on the poll. So, what are their options? What should they be considering as an entrepreneur? I guess it's also based on stage.
It is. It's going to be depend on stage. It's going to be depend on industry. It's going to depend on whether you're looking to build a company that provides enough revenue and income for you to live a good life, versus some people who, in their minds, they've just decided the only thing that they want to build is a unicorn. There's such a wide array of businesses. But from somebody who lives both in the wealth management and technology side, I'd say the first thing, especially on the technology side, and that's another thing, if you are building a company that's tech enabled, and I would encourage you to do that, because if we haven't recognized through COVID that if you're not tech enabled, it's going to be tricky. I would say, before you just say, hey, I can't build, or I'm stuck because I don't have capital, is what's your product? I would focus on the product first, and try to understand, at this stage of building your product, why isn't the product, and by the way, again, depends on the industry, depends on the product, but why isn't the product itself generating enough revenue for you to get to your next milestone, whatever that next milestone is? So I'd start with the product. If you've done all that, and you're at that point, you just recognized you need capital, I would do a little bit of research and beyond venture capital, and say, look, venture capital is one type of funding, but it's a very specific type of funding. A few things come with venture capital when you look and seek out venture capital. One is, there's an understanding between you and the investor that you're building something that's highly, highly, highly scalable. And so, is that the business that you're in? Also expect that, once you get this capital, there's an expectation that you're just strictly focused on growing and scaling and scaling. And at some point down the road, you're going to go through an exit at some point. I wouldn't say start by figuring out what your exit strategy is going to be, but if you're going to take capital from a VC, know that the way a VC firm functions and exists, and what the expectations are from investors, is that you're going to experience an exit or a liquidity event at some point in future. Do you even want to sell your company, or do you want this to be a company that you pass on to your children? It becomes a generational piece of asset that you then transfer to your. So I'd say, if you're fixed on venture capital, just make sure that is a route that you're willing to take. If it's not, then, whether it's debt capital, if you can get access to that, equity crowdfunding is a brilliant tool these days, where you can generate investments from the crowd. I would say, basically, I'm not going to go through all the different types of capital structures, but I would say, look at all the different types of capital structures first before you decide whether or not VC is for you.